first episode of Dare to Repair Garage. Alright, I've been talking about this channel coming up for a while, and I'm finally getting to making the first video. Hopefully a lot of you guys have come over from my other channel where I was doing a lot of work on the Mark IV GTI and the CX Racing KO4 XL, a lot of eBay parts, and now we've moved into a larger garage. I'll show you around later, but first off I want to talk about the new build. I have a B6A4 2005 1.8T, and I just started ordering parts and parts have started to come in, so the build is well on its way. And today I want to do a few unboxings and talk about what's to come. So we're going to start off with what everybody's been waiting for. The CX Racing X Series. So I think there's only one other video about this turbo on YouTube, and it's Stovall's Garage. Give him a shout, go check him out. He's got a sweet Ford that he's got. I know he did have one of these on, I'm not sure if he still does. But he was, I think, probably the guinea pig of all this. And even with some of his, hit or miss comments about how the turbo is not sized properly to what the spec he ordered, I wanted to give it a shot because these turbos are supposedly parts manufactured in China but then assembled and balanced in the United States. And it seemed like a sweet deal. I've been looking at this turbo for over a year. So let's get into it. First off, everyone says this on YouTube, but I like the box. I think it's a cool looking box. And so packaging actually is pretty nice. A lot of this stuff really got kind of hammered in shipping, but we'll see what we got. Alright, to start off, we have on top, we've got gaskets, oil fittings, coolant fittings. Pretty sweet with your banjo bolt attachments. I'm guessing that's an oil drain. Gaskets, banjo fitting bolts, studs for your manifold. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I get hardware and it ends up being absolute garbage. So hopefully this stuff is not terrible. If it is, I'll have to buy more hardware, but it came with it, which is great. Hopefully it's not bad. I'm gonna guess that it's not. It doesn't look terrible, so set this to the side here, don't lose anything. Alright, this is how it comes. It's fairly well packaged. That's everything. Let's open this guy up. First you gotta do a smell test. This is the first turbo that doesn't smell like it came from the factory in China. There's like a weird smell. I think auto parts that come from overseas, like they cover them in something. But this does not smell bad at all. Alright, now I'm a little worried because this is supposed to be a CX Racing X Series. And they're supposed to have markings on the housing that says CX Racing. So I'm scared. I don't know if this is a fake. I bought this off eBay from their motorsports company. Let me look up where I bought it from. Because I really liked the lettering on this. Alright, I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. There's lettering on that turbo housing. I bought this from CX Racing on eBay. Spent a lot of money on it. $612.74 to be exact. And it doesn't have the lettering on the housing. I'm gonna write them. Because that's not cool. That's really not cool. frustrated already. It's supposed to be a billet turbine wheel. Which it is. Dual ball bearing. The exhaust wheel. I mean, the housing looks good. SGT 3071 63 V-band. I'm just frustrated that this doesn't have the lettering on it. I thought that lettering was sweet. I would have got, if I wanted to get it without the lettering, I would have gotten an off-brand one for $200 cheaper. There's a little bit of metal in there. It's not just a little dust. Probably won't be able to see it from the camera. But, alright. I'm not going to tear into this because I'm going to write them and ask them about the housing. Because that's ridiculous. They've got to send me a new housing. That is absolutely unacceptable to be showing a picture with your branded CX Racing housing and not sending the housing. That really frustrates me. Like, I'm really, really frustrated. Maybe I made the wrong choice. Maybe I should have gone Pulsar. We'll see. If they get back to me, I'll make another video. We'll talk about it. I hope the turbo is great. This is a 1.8T, a 3071 with a 63RR, should, with a billet wheel, dual ceramic ball bearing, should be spooling below 4,000. And hopefully we can get around 400 horsepower. We'll see. It'd be sweet, but this blows my mind. I'm more than upset. I don't want to open it because I want to write them first. Extremely frustrated. Well, I've got a few other things to unbox. This will be a short video. This, I believe, is a Wyntomn M speed. W-Y-N-T-O-N. M. It's a weird way of spelling things. But this is supposed to be a 38mm wastegate with a 10-pound spring, and then came with another extra spring. I can't remember exactly what it is. Let's see how this looks. I'll do more in-depth review later on, but I just want to see how the stuff looks since I'm here. So, double packaging, that's nice. Invoice. This was $60.60 after tax. I'm going to have a full video. I have a spreadsheet laid out with the full cost of the build, and we'll go over that in a later episode because hopefully, okay, this is how it looks in the packaging. It's not super padded, but it did have a bubble wrap outside, so I'm not worried. So what do we have here? We have different springs. Maybe there isn't a spring in it. Let's check. Some bolts. A banjo fitting. Hopefully both of these are extra springs. I'm not sure. That's the softer spring. Looks like we have some instructions. We have a few flanges. I didn't realize it came with two. That's kind of nice. The flange surfaces are not great. They're a little scratched up. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. Came with a few gaskets. I'm not sure if I'll be using those or not. So we have two flanges. and everyone's waiting for the actual wastegate itself. It's a very large wastegate. The tape at the bottom here. Alright, people always say this, that the machining is not the best on these Chinese wastegates, and sometimes you have to clean stuff up, but instead of paying, you know, $300, because this is a budget build, it's budget and reliable. That's the goal here. The seal doesn't look bad. This is probably the best machine thing out of everything. This doesn't move very much. As you can see, there's a lot of light that will go through that. But I don't have the seal. We don't have the seal on there, so let's do this. If you can see all the light around that. I'm not sure it's supposed to be like that, because when you put the seal in, we'll see what type of light we get. Maybe slight, but it looks okay. How much? That does not want to move. Alright guys, so I have this Wyntomn here, and I've got my pressure regulator set and my air compressor on. I'm set at right around 15 pounds. This is supposed to be 10 pounds, but let's just see that it opens. And yes, it does open. This is supposed to be a 10-pound PSI boost dump valve spring plus a 20-pound spring. So maybe what we have is this is a 10-pound spring. This is a 20-pound spring. How does this look? I mean, honestly, this O-ring looks nice. I'll blow it out. There are a few little Chinese stuff. They always leave a little bit of material where they shouldn't leave material. Let's pull this off and look at it. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Maybe they're close. This looks nice. I mean, it's really smooth actually. There's a little bit of a grinding noise. I'm guessing it's not really much of a grinding noise, but I'm guessing that it's just where they didn't have any quality control. They didn't clean this up well enough. I don't think these are actually, I've heard these are not actual copies of any wastegate. They're their own design. So that comes right off. I mean that. It looks really good, actually. I think the grinding that I heard was just this washer sitting underneath. I can move that up a little bit. But smells delicious. Oh no! Spray this down. It has a very thin film of oil, which you do want. This doesn't need to be cleaned, I don't think. I'm going to clean just the mating surface of the gasket. I've got some STP high temp grease. Just going to put a little bit on all this stuff. See if we get a little smoother function. Grease that up. This viscosity might be too thick. If it is, I'll put a little bit of drops of oil in there as well, just to help free things up. So I think you're doing?
Making a mookie.
Me too.
What's it do?
It works.
You come with it?
Yeah, I got 3 springs here. These 2 I think are the same. I think it might have had a slight leak too, but I'm going to try to... That's tight. Sit. Alright, so we got this in without pinching the diaphragm. Diaphragm, that's the word I was looking for earlier. Let's see if it actually is a 10-pound spring, but it just had a leak, and we cleaned it up and we could figure out the leak. I hope that's the case. Otherwise, I have a spring that's a 15-pound spring, and I'm gonna have to write them. But I mean, overall, the wastegate looks nice. All right, so now we have a slight crack at 10 psi. And let's get up to 15 to see how much full oil in. We're at 15. I think that's fully open. And we'll go to 20 because I should be going to be running around 20 pounds of boost once all things are said and done. Alright, so 20 pounds, wastegate's fully open. I would say all in all this is a decent wastegate. It looks nice, machining's actually pretty good, not a lot of material left in there. Yeah, I'll give it a try, see how it does actually on the car. That'll be a ways down the road, but hey, you know, saving money, that's what it's all about. Alright guys, I have one last thing for you. I bought this from AJP Distributors. Yep, this is a manifold. I bought it off eBay. I think it was $69. I don't remember exactly what it is plus tax. But this is a log manifold, standard. A lot of guys are running these. I know everyone says, you know, get the name brand, but I can't afford this. I can't afford that. And the whole point of this build is to be educational, to show that someone could actually build a reliable V6A4 for not an arm and a leg. And that's the goal here, because it's so cost prohibitive to get into the Audis. At least people say it is, and everyone says, oh, you have to buy the best parts, you have to buy all the nicest things, otherwise your car is going to blow up. And that's just not true. My last car that I built was a 1.8T Volkswagen, and you know, I built it on eBay parts. And the thing rips, and it's a reliable car. The motor is solid. I can't say good enough things about excess power turbos. Like, really surprised. Great stuff. Hopefully they'll come through and we'll be able to put one of those on my dad's Avant, V6 Avant wagon. Alright, so this comes with gaskets. This has manifold studs as well. Looks like everything we need. Hopefully the hardware is good. That's one thing that I've noticed about buying these, you know, Chinese parts, is the hardware is sometimes garbage. We have a nice gasket. Don't know if we'll use it or not, but looks fine. I have another gasket as well coming. So let's open this thing up and see how she looks. And there it is, guys. Alright. The housing doesn't look terrible. You can see grinding marks where they cleaned it up a little bit where it wouldn't be hitting you. I'm going to clean up this just a hair. You see we have a little bit of marking there, a little bit of unevenness. I definitely want to match that. Mating surface for the wastegate looks pretty good. The holes look like they line up. Everything looks good there. I'm not going to run open dump. I know everyone loves open dump, but I'm not running open dump. I don't like my car to be ridiculously loud. I mean, I'll take a Dremel in here and clean up some of these holes. These don't look bad. The mating surface looks good. You can see there's a little unevenness on the bore, but it's really not stuff that needs to be cleaned up. But for $69 versus $300, you have to do a little bit of work with the Dremel. I would say you really can't beat it. AJP makes great stuff. They really do. Everyone swears by them. But this is a budget build. And, you know, I'm trying to make something that is cheap and reliable and, you know, a moderate horsepower goal. So I would say 100% on this. It's great. Go for it. So, alright guys, this was the first episode of Dare to Repair Garage, and I'll see you next time.